Plataforma de información musical y radio online. Rutas Alternas. Escucha.
En Rutas Alternas tenemos el enorme gusto de platicar con Amy Douglas, quien es el 50% de este proyecto sonoro Hard Feelings, proyecto de reciente aparición en la escena musical, pero con dos grandes artistas detrás de esta creación. Conectamos en esta videollamada con Amy. Hola, Amy.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Gracias. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Where are you right now, Amy?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York. Greetings, everybody from Brooklyn.
How's the summer in New York?
Steamy. Humid. Very steamy. A lot of rain. I think right now, I mean, if we're talking about like weather, hot and steamy and full of drama. And if we're talking about climate, otherwise hot and steamy and full of drama. I mean, it's a little tense here right now. I'm not going to lie. And I mean, it's been very tense here, obviously, since the beginning of COVID. And we had a lot of problems here. And then we thought everything was going to be okay. And I think we might have reopened a little too quickly. And now we have Delta variant and our governor is resigning. And it's an interesting climate here in New York right now.
I figure.
Moment.
When you think you are having a trouble moment, a difficult moment, never said, because you can have it even more harder, right?
It's like that line in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Could be worse.
Could be worse.
Raining. Could be raining.
Could be raining. So, Amy, it was amazing to discover that you are collaborating with Joe Goddard, and I read that it all started with some chat through Instagram. Is that correct? Some tweets?
Yes, it was actually on Twitter. It was Twitter, and I woke up one morning, like the blues songs go, and I cleaned the cobwebs out of my eyes, and as soon as I could make out the words, there it was. It was tweet, "Hi, Amy, can we work together?" And I was just like, "Wow." I hope I'm not hallucinating this moment, because like I need somebody else to read this to me. I turned, I was like, can you please read that to me and just make sure that like I'm not hallucinating right now? Sure, I wasn't. And we started at the end of 2018 and we made an entire album remotely. We hung out once in London in 2019 and we did a day in the studio there, but ironically, like nothing that we did wound up on the actual album from the time that we were there. Unfortunately, that'll probably happen in the future. But yeah, I mean, this has been an undertaking, and it has been an undertaking that has also been a great joy during a very dark time.
And Amy, how was the dialogue between Joe and you working in distance, but making music together? Because you have maybe different ways to express yourself. You have different ways to understand music, different proposals. But what happened? How was the dialogue?
It was flawless. The other part of this is that Joe and I have something of a telepathy thing going on. That's the only explanation I've really got for it, because this entire album was not even made. You see how we're communicating through Zoom right now? We did no Zoom. We did everything through emails.
Oh.
All of it. That's how well we communicate. He would send me a track. And I would hear this track and I'd flip out, I'd go downstairs, I'd get on my piano, I'd start writing the melody, I'd start writing the words. I'd be done with the song before I knew it. I'd turn it in. He'd be almost freaked out. He was like, this is so good. He'd send me 3 more. I'd work on those. And we would just constantly talk back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I've never been in a project that was so amazing and want so badly for it not to have been remotely. Because Joe and I clearly, it's like, we could do this remotely. And when we would hang out, it was like 2 geeks just constantly like, yeah, that's dope. That's awesome. I love that. I love that. I love it. It was like, are you me? Am I you? Can I see your brain? That's your brain. I can see it. I can see what you're thinking. You can see what I'm thinking. That's the only explanation for this, because these songs were writing themselves. It was like they were just like happening. They would just jump out from the tracks. So it's really something. Our communication is so good that then by the time that we took this to marketplace and we started like talking about marketing, vibe, mood, he left the music videos to me. He was like, you got this. I'm going to go work on this part of the project. I trust you. And I'd be like, he's going to be in the third video, and we're shooting the third video soon. But he left that to me, and he went and worked on the areas that, you know, he has. I could never work on these areas. These are his areas of expertise. It was this whole powwow. It was just like, let's go put on a play in the barn. Oh yes, we know exactly what must go here. Oh, I love your ideas for how you want to present it. I don't know how to explain it. When I tell this to people, they just kind of look at me and go, right, you're just saying that. I'm not just saying that. If you lived with me during this time, like quite literally, like my husband would like turn to me and just kind of go, how are you doing this, you two? And I'm like, we're just kind of doing it. We're just kind of doing it.
It's super hard to have this kind of connection, not only with another musician, with another human being, right? It's hard to understand each other even through an email. I mean, it's amazing the magic of music that can take you together to make some great songs.
And it also helps you believe in a little bit of magic.
Yes.
Look, we all need to believe in a little bit of magic right now. Magic is sort of like the fancy version of hope. And I feel like it's the fancy hope, it's sort of like the fairy tale version of what we really need, which is hope. And you want to keep that gasoline in your body at all times to keep you alive. It got so down to the nuggets with Joe that by the time we were discussing those music videos for Holding On Too Long and For Dangerous, and me going off and writing the actual treatments and doing all the work, and then I turned it in and I started talking about all the filmmakers that inspired it. I had no idea those were his favorite filmmakers too. I didn't know that in advance. Worse, I didn't know that his father was a film editor. Oh, what? Oh, these are my favorites. You went to surrealism. I love these things about it. And he starts talking about moments in the films. And I'm like, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. I said, I did not know he goes, you didn't know my father was a film editor? No. What do you mean? I didn't know your father was a film editor. I did not know you grew up in the world of film. Oh, yeah. I was just like, this is what I mean. All these accidents kept falling out of the sky, like left and right. This was ordained art that wanted to be here.
And I figured now that you mentioned these two parts of making music, where it gives the project a great vibe, because it has all this electronic, house, electro vibe from Joe, but also have all this rock static, this combat, amazing sound from your voice and your way to be. I don't know. It's the most important things of both, right?
Yeah, oh, you nailed it. See, I love this. I've spoken now. I love you all. I'm coming to Mexico, and I'm probably just gonna maybe like have to like stay for a while and hang out with y'all, because you all are great. Like, I really love that this is translating. You always hope. You hope that your intentions land. You know what I mean? Like, you hope your intentions land. And when I got together with Joe, I said, look, I'm a singer-songwriter. My whole world is songs. I could care less about genres and trends and all that. I mean, it's nice, whatever. That's important to producers, and that's important to God knows who else. It's not important to me. To me, if there's no song there, you got nothing anyway. I said, so we've got loads of these amazing songs, but we need to treat this with that kind of gravitas. And as I hoped, what I really was hoping for is that people would think of this as a pop or even an indie pop rock album with dance overtones, or if you like, a dance album that fits real nice in your car when you drive. You know, I mean, like, just, but I wanted it that way. Like, I mean, my argument was that the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack is a pop album by the ultimate pop band. Disco, the greatest commercial radio hits we have in disco that were not Philly International, that were not of the golden era, that don't have its roots in Chicago soul, that don't have its, like, those are all Bee Gees. These are all Bee Gees, and the Bee Gees are the best. Barry Gibb is the best. I get really onto beat. I am a Barry Gibb-aholic. That needs to be said. I mean, I worship Paul McCartney like he is God. Yes. And I worship Brian Wilson like he is God, Carole King like he is God, the members of ABBA like they are God. My pop gods, my Brill Building writers, my Phil Spector dudes, Ellie Greenwich's karaoke. These are my heroes. These are my patron saints. And Barry Gibb is as good, if not better than all of them. And nobody wants to treat him like he is because of the disco thing.
Yes, because it has a sound, an organic sound. There are instruments, there are guitar. As you said,
he understands fundamentally how to incorporate soul music and R&B idioms into pop music, and he got punished for it. And I want to punch it. No, okay, that's the record industry for you. Because, oh, I'm so sorry, I made really effective disco music that sold so well, it dominated. And then, of course, what happened is the record industry dominated with the white disco people, and disco got a bad name, and it got overplayed in Comiskey Park and racism and homophobia. and this is why disco comes, I was just talking about, disco comes in, it comes out a trend, and it not to the people who really love it, not to the people who really understand it, but to the rest of the world it does. Because the world still sees it as a polyester suit with a Coke spoon around your neck, and music that only serves the purpose of hedonistic pursuit and sybaritic pleasure. Never mind that disco, it's as ruffian and punk and rebellious as punk from my city. We gave you punk twice. Just one is funky, yes. One is punky. Look at it that way. That's the way I want the world to see disco from now on. It's punk rock. You've all been lied to. It's black music. It's black music with punk rock manifesto. That's the way it should be seen. Disco is the result of Black, brown, gay people coming together and needing safe spaces by which to exist. Never mind just needing those safe spaces in normal life every day to exist, because being gay could get your ass thrown in jail, but because there was nowhere to be gay and be with your people and listen to the music you love. So finally, you have brave, courageous men like Dave Mancuso, who creates The Loft, and that's disco. And that story is not told enough. It's only now, because of where I think we are societally and our relationship to gay culture. I think homophobia was such a blanket on all of this. I really do. Comiskey and what happened, that's all racism and homophobia, and I call it out every goddamn day. But more to the point, because of where things are now I want that story told more than ever. Because now that story is ready to be told, and by everybody. You know, I am very encouraged that Pose did as well as it did. I'm very encouraged that MJ Rodriguez is up for a goddamn Emmy. And she better win that shit too. I'm sorry. You see my face right now?
I know.
She was amazing. I mean, everybody on that show was amazing. And it was really actually,
yes.
you know, it's Ryan Murphy, but it was still well done. But the point of the matter is, it resonated. It resonated with young people who are not, even though they believe in binary fluidity, and they don't want the homophobia, they don't want the isms, they don't want these prejudices. So it resonated with them. It resonated with them. And I worked on that video for Dangerous with people who worked on Pose. The makeup artist actually worked on it. I was very, very taken. You know, if disco's future is in the hands of children who will recognize its cultural and societal and significant importance, that's beautiful. Then we've got to fight. Then we can go take down a bad guy. Because we still got bad guys we got to go take down. A lot of them, too many to count. And they're standing in the way of everything. But we got to keep fighting that way. I'm not gonna have discussions about dance music with people. I'm not gonna have discussions about dance music and not reinforce where it comes from and why it's here. It is not just, and dancing your cares away, the dancing, the sybariticness, the things that you think are just these fun little things to do and then not do anymore. No, do them every day. Put them in your life. Look at your participation in putting on something so dripping with lurid excess and going and shaking your ass a lot harder than you normally would in front of people as this. That's your fuck you to a society that says what you can and can't do, what you can and can't be, says women are second-class citizens, get lower pay, says it matters who you fuck, and therefore I get to judge you. It matters the color of your skin, therefore I get to judge you. I say, F that. I say all art needs to be a very big F that right now, more now than ever, more now than ever. And if I am here as a representation of a form of music that should be the loudest rebellious statement that we make towards that, I want to constantly reinforce it is very important that there is a responsibility paid. This is rebel music. Oh, it's fun and it's sparkly. Maybe it's sexier than punk, but it's punk. Its intentions are the same. It's shit starter, upstarter, subversive music, and in this case, life-saving, life-affirming. And there are so, and the catalog is so dense with music that is very actually politically driven. It's just, there's not enough of it to like compete with all of the push and push and like, which that's the kind of disco that, you know, I love it, but it isn't, you know what I'm saying? It's not exactly Sarone. And, you know, I mean, we know our real, you know what I'm saying though, like Philly International, which is my favorite disco.
I think it's amazing, Amy, that all these elements you mentioned are included in the album, because I have listened the whole album. Gosh, amazing. But it's not only about music, dance music, electronic house music. It's about rock, social statement, political statement, punk element, punk soul. Amazing.
We also decided it was time for the, you know, it wasn't intentional. When Joe and I met in London, we were like, you know, I asked him, I was like, you having a hard time at home? He's like, no, not really. I was like, you having a hard time at home? I'm like, no more than normal. I said, why are we writing such sad songs? Like all of them. Have you noticed? They're all quite sad. Like I realized that my lyrics have to match your music. So I'm wondering, are you sad? And therefore by proxy, am I writing songs that are sad because we're sad? No, everything's fine. Oh, good. Well, if we're just pulling this out of our butts, then we can afford to be conceptual. I said, think about not concept, like rock operas, obviously, like Tommy or Quadrophenia. Or the likes. We definitely thought there, but we also leaned on Fleetwood Mac's Rumors a lot. Now, Fleetwood Mac's Rumors is not a concept album, but it's almost a loose one. Like if you really sit down and listen to that album and really focus song to song, and even try to forget that you know the backstory, forget the backstory. That both of the couples of Fleetwood Mac are breaking up during the making of this album. Oh God, I can't even imagine what that must have really been like. Oh God. So they're breaking up during the making of this album. Forget that we know this as music fans. Yeah, I know that you're a rock fan. I come from rock, and I'm a rock fan, and I'm an old soul, and I live for like folklore and rock lore and like all the pantheon of hard rock stuff. So those stories and all the coke and paying their like coke dealer and liner notes on the album. I mean, like crazy stuff. But even if you didn't know that, if you listen to that song and you pay attention to the lyrics, it's like from start to finish, you're really looking at the slow breakup of a couple. Secondhand news is sort of like, I've had it with you, I'm gonna do my thing. And dreams is the wistful realization that it's over. And like, you know, and like, every song, and then like you make love and fun, you decide either you're going to try one more time or you're going to go have fun with somebody else. Like, I mean, like by the time you get to the chain, it's over and it's all fallout, and you know you're left with Gold Dust Woman. That's like pack up and move out, and it's the dead trails. So I said this to Joe, and of course he just sat back and he went, you really thought about this, haven't you? I said, yes I have. Yes I have, because I've listened to Rumors, which is a perfect album and deserved everything it got. Perfect.
And as you said, have this concept, this narrative inside the album with this collection of songs. And you will release your debut album as Hard Feelings on November 5, correct?
That is correct. We're November 5th, and we have a third single and video dropping in September. And no, I ain't telling you what it is. I'm going to surprise y'all.
Okay. And when will you come to Mexico, Amy?
As soon as you can have me.
Well, tomorrow, if you like.
I'll pack a bag.
Take a plane and come, please.
I would love to. I would love to. I mean, I have a very close friend in Mexico City named Paolo, and she's a DJ. She's amazing. I think she's the future. And I mean, I want to go see her. She's in Puerto Escondido, and I want to go see her.
Cool.
I want to go. I really do.
You have to come.
Soon as we can, you'll be seeing me.
In the meantime, we can listen the debut album of Hard Feelings, November 5th, your next single in September, and looking forward to see you live here in Mexico next year. And we will grab a beer if you come to Guadalajara.
Oh my God. Guadalajara is going to be one of my first stops on that. Food of Oaxaca, the whole region. You have the best food in the world. Don't tell the French.
Okay. Amy, thank you so much for this chat with Rutas Alternas.
Oh, gracias. Thank you so much for having me. Everybody, I'm coming. Mama's coming from New York. I'm coming. I swear, baby. We're going to make it happen. So thank you so much for everything.